All right, guys, today is Easter Sunday. Happy Easter. I've said it in my last video. This is my second video of the day. And happy Easter to everyone out there. And we all know that the world we're living in is not the same world we were living in even a month ago. Pretty much a month ago, everything changed with the coronavirus, and everyone has pretty much been locked down in their homes as state and local governments have pretty much put everyone in lockdown on their homes. But I think one thing that's kind of been forgotten in all of this is that we as Americans do have constitutional rights. We do. We have freedom of religion. And the governments, state or local, they have been infringing on your constitutional rights. They just have. And what we're about to talk about right now is front page. Your rights as citizens are being violated. And it almost seems like that this country is slipping into more of a, I don't even know the word to even really say, but let's just say this. The state governments, depending on the state, depending on the governor, has too much power. And that really is what I'm going to be talking about in this video when it comes to the state of Kansas governor. She's a Democratic governor. Her name is Laura Kelly. So Governor Kelly of Kansas. She actually put an executive order in limiting religious gatherings in the state to 10 people. I've never heard of anything like this. This is very, very unprecedented. And it sounds very, very unconstitutional to me. Now, we know that the pandemic is ravaging the United States and the world in general. Now, I've read stories about church gatherings. Many churches are just doing online. That's great. That's probably the best way to stop the spread of the virus when it comes to church gatherings. But however, some churches are actually still having church, but they are actually doing it a bit different. Some are just having outside church where you just are outside in your car and you just listen in on your radio with your windows up. And I can't remember the state where this actually happened in, but the police actually came in and they broke up the church service. People were in their cars. The cars were separated. And the police stepped in and disbanded the church service. This is not the American way. This is not constitutional. This is an attack on religious freedoms. Your freedoms are being violated. And at a time right now, Easter is one of the most sacred days in the Christian calendar. It's about the resurrection of Jesus. And really, the resurrection of Jesus is pretty much the whole point of the Christian faith. But Governor Kelly, to me, this is almost dictatorial right here. This is clearly a violation of the Constitution. But you know what? The Kansas Supreme Court upheld her executive order. Now, usually court justices, they usually have degrees in law. And this is clearly a violation of the law. But a liberal politician once again gets away with violating the law. Now, Republican leaders actually voted to revoke the order, calling it a violation of the constitutional rights of freedom of religion. I completely agree with that. I don't even know how this was even put in. I think people today should be able to gather with social distancing to celebrate Easter. Now check this out. I know people are going to the grocery store. The grocery store, for the most part, is going to have way more people in it than church. But nobody's shutting down the grocery stores. I went to HEB yesterday here in Houston. People were practicing social distancing. But when you're actually in the aisles, it's very, very hard to practice social distancing because everybody's moving around with a cart. The aisles aren't that big. Even though the grocery store is actually limiting the number of people that are coming in. I'm pretty sure that churches are putting something in the same way, where they're separating people that are actually inside the church, or they're having drive-through services. But you know what? For these crazy politicians, that's not good enough. These politicians, this governor wants to act like a dictator. And it's not right. And I'm absolutely shocked that the Kansas Supreme Court actually upheld her order. This is going too far. This is going too far. And this just kind of lets you know the way that this country could go if the socialists got their way. I'm just calling it what it is. This is insanity to the highest level. If you want to go to church, you should be able to go to church because that is your constitutional right. Now, it is the job of the churches to actually implement social distancing and how they actually going to coordinate the services if they're not going to have it online. Outside services. I mean, last Sunday, I think it was last Sunday, my mom said they had church outside. Church outside. So people would actually be interacting with each other and would be in close quarters with each other. There are ways to have church services in person. But I guess Governor Kelly doesn't care about the constitutional rights of her people, of her citizens. This is not the way the United States is supposed to be. This is clearly a violation of the Constitution. But I guess there's really nothing that can be done. There's nothing that can be done. Now, whether you actually believe that churches should be closed and just going strictly online, that's one thing. But the point of this video is the rights of citizens are being violated by the governor of Kansas. And that's my biggest problem with this. That is my biggest problem. Now, I don't think Houston has anything like that. I mean, that would be a stretch if they did something like that here. I don't think that's happening. I think the churches, from what I hear, a lot of them actually just having their services online, but the ones that are actually having services, they're putting precautions in place. But what do you guys think of this? Has Governor Kelly overstepped her boundaries as the governor? Is she violating the Constitution? Because I completely agree that she's actually violating the Constitution. I'm with the Republican leaders on this in the state of Kansas. This is insanity. She's treating the state of Kansas like it's communist China right now. That's what it is. But that's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Governor Kelly. She's acting like she's some type of a dictator right now. So guys, let me know what you think about all this in the comments. If you're new here to the channel, please hit subscribe to catch future videos from me, and we will catch you on the next video. John Matrixx, out.